This is Donnie. I'm going to go over Josh's guide to completing a thesis or dissertation. It's a really practical overview of the entire process. Um, so step one is clarifying your career goals. So the scope of your dissertation may depend on whether you're planning to apply for academic jobs or not. Um, and so, if you are planning on applying for academic jobs, oftentimes people want you to talk about your dissertation project when you do a job talk. And so, having something that really showcases what you've been learning, your expertise, theoretically and quantitatively, is important. Um, so, step two, deciding on a topic. Most of the time, this is something that you're passionate about, interested in. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of background reading on it, and then the trick is kind of how to narrow on the scope, and then we also want to kind of strike a balance of to what extent it overlaps with some of my interests. So the further we go away from my expertise, the less help I'll be in kind of um, helping streamline the process because I just won't be as familiar with the literature. Um, so Josh kind of for each of these gives an example of how it played out with his training. We've got some other materials on doing a literature review, but at Georgia State, this is a we typically do a two-chapter dissertation, so the literature review is the first chapter, and it's a standalone publication, systematic review. um, and then typically you want some of the logic within your literature review to somehow lead to the empirical study in chapter two. Step four, you design your study, and so Josh has another practical guide to that, um, but it builds on the work you did in your review. Step five, write the method section. This is usually one of the easier sections to write because it's pretty formulaic. Participants, measures, procedure. Um, we don't really do this. We write ours as a manuscript, so the hypotheses go up in the introduction section. um, so once you've done your chapter one and the intro and method of chapter two, you'll propose your project. So it kind of talks about steps of picking a committee and putting together a presentation based on your manuscript, scheduling, printing out copies. Some of these specifics are a little different, but this is the gist. We don't really do, you don't have to bring food or drink for your committee. So, kind of talks here about don't be defensive. This is really a glorified collaborative group. It's not meant to be hostile. There is an evaluative component, but um, the purpose is really to help you develop a stronger project. Um, and I'm not going to let you go to a defense without having a strong base project. So then you collect your data, kind of get your IRB in, manage the data collection of it. There's a step in the process that involves analyzing, and he kind of gives an overview of these parts. We've got some other trainings on both preliminary analyses, and this is really going to be one of the focuses of our group is trying to help strengthen expertise and analytical skills. So once you kind of narrow on a set of analyses that hang together in a story, you write up your results section. We've got some trainings on how to do that, how to think about that. Step 10, write the discussion section. Step 11, prepare your final paper. Polishing things up. Defend your project. And you're done. Doctor.